But you know what else everyone needs is episode 246, which is what this episode is, Kyle. This is episode 246.
That's 4 away from 250.
That's right. We're halfway there or something. I don't know.
There.
Jeff loves saying that all the time. Regardless if you're
something.
at episode 1 or episode 999, we're halfway there.
Yeah. Thank you for being halfway there with us, everybody.
Thank you. My name is Dan. I like birds that are yellow. So like this guy over here, this chocobo that my friend made me, which is super awesome. It's a CD case, Kyle. And I have all my Final Fantasy. Actually, you know what? I didn't get to show you, Kyle.
I haven't. Yeah, let me see.
Oh, by the way, this is Kyle. Hello. Say hi to Kyle.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I like green cactuses. I don't know. I just saw something on your screen and
sure.
copied it in theme.
She made a.
That's cool.
It's all leather. It's like legit leather. She does leather work.
Yeah. I used to like do those when I was a kid. That thing that you like iron that I forget what that art is called.
Yeah, I forget what it's called too. But she made that like on the front just to kind of add a little like accent to it,
cool.
you know. Just and I got all my like my Distant World CDs in here, and I have because I bought the like 7-disc sets of Remake and Rebirth, so I got all like the Remake and Rebirth CDs in here too.
Wow.
So like I've wanted a case to put these all in just so they're not like, you know, all in different places and in flimsy boxes and stuff. And she's like, I'm going to make that for you. So yeah, like a handmade CD holder.
Okay. That's super cool. Sweet. I really like it. Yeah, I love it.
It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. But we're not here just to talk about CD cases, Kyle. We're here to talk about video games.
We could if you want to. Yeah.
I mean, just talk CD case cast. CD case cast.
A real specific lane.
But yeah, our dad's not here. He's doing something. I don't know what he's doing, but he said he could not be here. He said, "Kids, go do the thing." And we said, "Okay, Dad." So we're going to do predictions because the Keeley show. It's almost Keeley hour. Approaches.
Keeleve. I don't know what it's called.
Keeleving us, you know, in the dark. But yeah, we're gonna do some predictions because that's what we're doing, and I love predictions very much.
Yeah,
big
I can hear it
fan.
in your voice. Yeah.
Yeah, big fan of losing every year because Kyle is just like, I'm going to predict logically and stuff. And I'm like, I'm going from the heart, Kyle.
I am a student of the industry, Dan. And I don't have any pretentious things to say. I don't know how I win every year. It's probably mostly luck. So,
you know, but I mean, hey, you got good luck then. You got good luck.
I get that's where the only place I have it. So, yay for getting wasted on predictions on a podcast.
My best luck gets funneled into predictions on this podcast I do. Yeah. But actually, because Tim was like, I don't think any new games came out this week, and it's like, Tim, you're insane. A very important RPG came out this week, Kyle.
It did, yeah. Did you end up picking this up?
I picked up Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake. I did.
I did too, and I'll tell you why. Like my teeter-totter after you kind of introduced the game and tell me your thoughts.
Your teeter-totter, okay? We're gonna teeter-totter.
I was gonna do that first. I'm on 2 different giant RPGs, as you are as well. I'm sure. So
dude, I have like 5 games.
Buying a third one just seemed, but specifically RPGs. Like buying a third RPG just seemed insane to me. But we'll get
100%. We're insane, but we're gonna be insane together. So
that's fine. Yeah,
let's be insane together. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna bounce back and forth and seesaw our insanity. But yeah, so for me, Kyle, I don't know what your experience is with the series overall. Dragon Quest for me is actually not something I'm super familiar with. I've only beaten 2 of them, which was 8 and 11.
Yep.
I've played 9, which was on the DS.
I played and beat that one. That was kind of like online-ish. Yeah.
Was it online?
Yeah, I remember like playing like there was like a co-op kind of like thing to it,
okay.
Or you could use other people's characters or something. I have a real weird shadow memory of it. Yeah.
No, that probably I think that checks out because the DS and 3DS had a lot of that like was it Street Pass and kind of that connectivity thing that Nintendo liked to do. I was thinking 10 is like an MMO which hasn't made it to the States.
No, which whatever, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
it would have made it over here if they thought it was going to do really well. So,
I think maybe it still is, but like, I forget
you
the last
thing. It one day? That'd be crazy.
I swear they announced something where it was either going to be an offline mode version of it, or I don't know. I swear there was something, but who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, I played a mode version of it just to check it out.
Yeah, exactly. Just to at least be like, well, what is this about? Because I mean,
I'm similar to you. I've only beaten a couple of them. It's 9, the one on the DS, and 11. That's the newest one, right?
Yeah.
That game was so fantastic.
It was.
And I went back and played 8, but I didn't play 8 when it launched originally. I played 8 when it was remade for like DS or re-released for the DS.
The 3DS? Yeah.
The 3DS, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm very aware of the series and specifically the history or the historical significance of this specific one, which like I'm sure this game kicked off like this RPG, like the whole JRPG genre for the most part, like the way that like party systems worked and everything. It's almost like this game kind of did all that stuff first, and then everything else kind of fell in line. Yeah. Because like the 2 games before this didn't have party systems, I don't believe.
Okay.
This is the first game in the series that had like you had a party or whatever, and even in this one, like the party, like they're kind of nameless, like you kind of make them or recruit them or whatever,
So was it just you as one hero and 1 and 2 running around? Like...
I know 1 for sure is like that, but I can't remember if 2 was exactly like that. But I know there wasn't a party in that one. But like this is a 1987 game in Japan. I don't think it came here until 89.
Let's see.
And I mean, like everything kind of followed suit after this one in terms of the way that like world maps worked and the way that like kind of a lot of the tenets that were the entire 90s generation of like JRPGs kind of like started here. So like the significance, like how important this game is to like the genre and the industry is actually what got me to buy it. Like I was just like, I've never played it. I want to experience that. I want like, I want to know what that part of history means in terms of its significance for all this stuff. So
yeah,
I couldn't pass up on it. So yeah, here I am 3 RPGs deep in the span of a month.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean, you know me, Kyle. I loved RPGs, so I guess there's just never enough. There
should be, Dan. We're crazy. There's something wrong with us.
But I think you said 88 Japan, right? So that would have been correct.
Oh, I think it said 87, but 88. Okay, that's good.
Okay, yeah. So 88 Japan, 92, here in the States.
Oh, 92. So, okay, so wow.
Yeah, so it took a little while.
Yeah, it took a little bit.
But that was common with RPGs back in the day. It took a while.
It did.
Yeah. But like I always remember hearing how like important this series was to Japan. Like it was almost like it was like a holiday when like a new one came out. Everyone's like, well, not going to work. Got to play Dragon Quest. Like,
yeah,
you got to go do that. That's way more important. So I've always known of like the importance and the grandeur of this series. Yeah, but it's just not something that I had experienced until 8 when I bought it on PS2, which was also really significant because the PS2 one is where it made the leap into 3D.
Well, and that one is considered before, I guess, 11, maybe even still after 11 came out, to be one of the best in the series, and one of the best JRPGs, period. So.
Yeah.
Like this, I mean, for this series to have so many of those, like, tentpole things for the genre. So you're talking like 3. I know a lot of people like the second trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm not exactly sure about 7, but I know 8 obviously splashed really big, and now you have 11. Just a lot of big, that's a lot. That's to be considered some of the best JRPGs ever. That's a lot to have in one series, Very few things outside of this and Final Fantasy kind of have that kind of batting, record. So,
yeah. And it's interesting too. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with the series, as far as like the vibes and like the aesthetic and just a lot of the DNA of the series. So Final Fantasy, where it likes to try different things, like in all sorts of different facets, this series is very much like, this is what we are. Like the main theme is like the same, like basically the whole time. Like it's very like true to its origins and like it's old school, and that's awesome. So I'm here for that. Like when that music that thing.
Well, and you always know it's just gonna be hardcore fantasy. It's just fantasy. There's not going to be any sci-fi. There's not going to be any like weird twists or anything like that. You always know what you're signing up for, and I like that kind of consistency. It's good branding,
Yeah. So jumping into 3, which apparently is actually
it's a prequel.
And it's the prequel, so it's actually cool that these remakes are coming out in sequential order. So it's like we're actually playing the story in sequential order.
I'm gonna be really interested to play a JRPG, a turn-based JRPG with just one character in your party. That's really so. When everyone plays the first one for the first time, which it sounds like it's gonna be the first time for you, first time for me, first time for a lot of people. That's gonna be weird. I'm interested to see how they pull that off. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know. Like you saying that was the first time
I didn't know until a week
okay.
ago. Yeah, like that's how. Yeah, I'm newly informed on this stuff. So
it's interesting. But first off, Kyle, you see the game and it's beautiful. This is just the first thing you notice. You're like, this game's gorgeous.
It is. That's new age Square Enix 2D, 3D, HD. You know, beauty, and it's just it's a really sharp looking game. And it makes exploring like way cool because it's not like the old overworld map. Like it's like everything looks like way better. They've expanded out the sizes of these areas. They've added little nooks and crannies with new items and stuff like that. So even returning players, like they're kind of getting to see this world from a new perspective, you know, for the first time. So
yeah, I saw somebody sharing like, well, I'd say side by side, but it was actually like on top of each other. But yeah, like the original version of 3
with
the HD-2D remake like below it, and like show like in the remake, like you're going into the building, it's loading in like the asset, you know, you go inside the building. But on the old one, it was just like you go into it and it was just like you're in the building. It was just open because it's all one whole map, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like the color palette and the sprites were different, and you're just in a building and then you're talking to somebody behind a stall. But here, because obviously it's a modern game, you're actually going inside of a building and it loads and everything's inside, you know.
Which, like, for its time, you're talking 88, like that's pretty impressive to have a whole world that was like totally consistent or whatever, persistent or whatever. So that is pretty wacky for that. I know another part of this game's history is being like one of the very first JRPGs that actually felt like you were going on like a real adventure, you know, because like there wasn't, there is now, you know, there's a lot of quality of life updates in this one where you have quest markers, but in the original, there was no quest markers. You had to ask people around town, you know, of where to go next. And someone would say, hey, that town is northwest of here, so you need to go there or whatever. And you just kind of had to remember that and then like go find it, you know? And there was no, like, you know, so it was like an adventure, and you could go do things, maybe not out of order, you know, because like you'd probably hit, you know, some pretty big enemies that would probably stomp you pretty good if you're going in the wrong way, you know. But like, I thought that was always pretty cool, you know. And I you know, I'm like 3 hours into this game, and like I already feel the sense of adventure. Like it always kind of already feels fun arriving in a new city and being like, whoa, man, that was brutal, because like there's a fight every 5 steps in the game, and you know, it's very old school in that way. How are you feeling about kind of like it staying true to some of its more old school natures like that? Because there is a lot of random battles, and there is you know, it is still first person whenever you're attacking. There's not any animations to the characters or anything like that. They really wanted to maintain kind of their old identity in that regard. What did you think of that choice?
So because I think I only watched like a couple of trailers of it, and I remember seeing screenshots too of like it showed your party standing there on the field with the enemies in front of you. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So they're gonna do that. Like you see your party. So of course I go to start to play the game. I'm like, ah, shit, it's that like old school, just looking forward. You're just seeing like a slash pop up on the screen. I'm like, damn it. Because like, so for me personally, I don't like that. I want to see my characters. I want to see my characters. I want to see them animating and doing things.
I like the animations of moves in JRPGs. It's like 90% of why I play them.
Right. Yeah. I want to see the character do something
spectacle
sick.
Stuff. Yeah. It is cool that like, you know, your characters are defined by like what item that they're holding and stuff like that. So like there's a little thing that's changed about the characters when they're in their like passive states when you're choosing a you know, a move to do next or whatever. But yes, I mean, I'm totally there with you. I'm sure plenty of people who grew up playing this game were just like, no, it's pure. They kept it pure. And that's cool. I respect that. I respect that 100%. Even the studio even went for that route. But just in general, you spend a lot of time modernizing a lot of things, and that was one thing. They're just like, but not this thing. We're not going to modernize this.
It would have been nice to have the option to swap between.
That'd be cool. There's a lot of things that are like that, where you choose to have the GPS on, you choose to have it off. They have a lot of things that you can slide on or off, which is nice.
But yeah, it's not like offensive to me. It's just more of like a visual preference thing.
Yeah.
But as far as like how the combat is flowing and me progressing through the game, I don't know. So far, I'm not having like too bad of a time, but that could be because of a particular reason, Kyle. And this is This is me being a little like, well, I'm gonna snoop around and do some digging. I did some digging, Kyle.
All right, here we go.
So when you boot up the game, you're just like, I'm an adventurer in a grass field, and you hear a voice, and you walk up to a cliff, and this voice is talking to you, and you basically do like almost like you're doing a job interview, and you're answering questions and stuff.
It's a real personality test. Like you're answering like really binary questions, and they give you a personality. I don't know what they call it, card or whatever.
Yeah. So basically, the way that the stats are designed in this game is based off of like a personality, quote unquote. So you answer the questions in the certain way, which, there's a whole tree. I actually saw an image where there's the tree, like if you answer this, you go this way and then you go that way. And then once you kind of get to the end of that, it's gonna designate you as a certain personality. And then it actually will teleport you to like this space, and you actually within that space, which I think this is actually really cool. So not only are you answering all those questions, Kyle, and then it's going to bring you to a certain spot, but then once you get to that spot, you can still actually get to other things because you either do one thing or you do another thing. So I don't know what you got, but for me, I wound up in a castle, and the king was like sending their soldiers off to war to fight some neighboring, whatever. And I spoke to the chancellor, and they had some questions for me. So I answered those questions a certain way, and I got a certain personality. But if I had done the opposite, I would have gotten something else, basically.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I
had something different, but I can't remember what it was now that we're like talking specifics. But yes, I had a different thing where after you answer some questions, you go into that little space or whatever. Yeah. And I too really like this part. And I answered all my stuff pretty generally, like how I would answer them. Like I wasn't trying to game it or anything like that. And I got an eerily like spot on like little quick horoscope thing or whatever.
When she reads it back to you?
Yeah.
It's
like, you're like this, and like you're blah blah blah, and like you like to be alone and don't ask people for help even when you're having trouble, and yada yada. I'm like, ugh.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't want to. I didn't pay for this therapy session. Like,
I mean, we did actually, but but I don't.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting though, and I know it's just like they're really binary choices. I don't know how many choices there are, how many personality like cards there are, or whatever. But like, I thought it was an interesting way to start a game though, and I'm sure. Yeah. How does that manipulate the stats though? I think you were saying that stats somehow.
I got the personality of Vamp. It's called Vamp in this game, which I think in the original. So what I was reading in like the Wikipedia or whatever, a couple of websites. So like I think they changed it to Vamp just to make it not. So it's either like I think back in the day it was like Sexy Girl. Mm-hmm. Or something like that. Like basically,
this game is so censored. Oh, yeah, I can't believe it.
But so yeah, it was like Sexy Girl, or which basically it's implying you're flirtatious. That's the personality. So basically it has the best stats essentially.
Oh, cool.
That personality. Nice. So that's what I wound up getting. So like every time you level up, you're getting a nice boost essentially.
Yeah.
So that's what I wound up. And you have to choose.
Cool. You're cheating.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You have to choose the female option too, even though it doesn't say that in the beginning because again, censored. This game is so censored. Yeah. But you can't be the dude. Yeah, the dude does not count for that particular.
Dudes can't be flirty. You heard it here first, everybody.
Yeah, can't be flirty. They get the male character like gets something else. I forget what it's called, but it just doesn't get these stat bumps that Vamp gets.
I forget what mine was called, but it was like your strength is going to go up a lot, but you're never going to get much luck. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. Okay. I'm never going to be hitting crits. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
It's okay. You just get beefy, Kyle. You just get beefy.
I'll get beefy, yeah.
You just get beefy. But you can compensate with creating a party. Like you said, you got the nameless characters that you can pre-choose. Which
is fun. Like you could change like their color of their hair, if they're wearing a hat or not, like there's it's not. I'm not saying you're from the ground up creating these people, but like there's enough there where you're
it's not Baldur's Gate,
right. Like this character's mine, like and I like that, You can name whatever you want to, or if you don't want to do any of that, you can just recruit one.
Yeah, exactly. But you could also because when you're creating the character, you can have that NPC designate the stats for you, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't like what the outcome was, just back out and just try it again, like re-roll, so to speak, and get a personality that you prefer. So I got my crew of Cloud, Yuna, and Vivi.
I love it. Okay.
So I got the Final Fantasy party in my crew. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of breezing through the combat. I'm not really feeling like
I'm not hitting too much stuff either. And I remember the legacy of this game being like, this game is grindy, and I'm like,
okay,
look, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't hit that yet. But
what level are you right now?
Either, so what's up?
What level are you right now?
Oh God, I have my thing right here. Hold on. I'm not sure what level are you while I look mine up.
I'm on. I think 8 or 9 average. I think my main character's 8. The rest of the party's 9.
My main character's 7, and everybody else is 8 and 9.
So,
yeah, so we're about the same spot. Yeah, I'm in Reeve right now. I did all the tower stuff and all that stuff. So I've returned to the town after going to the tower to get the thief's key or whatever.
So I stumbled on that just by accident. I was just exploring as I do in RPGs, because you know me, I like to check every nook and cranny. I'm just meandering around, and I just stumbled into that cave. So I found the cave system, which then you take the certain stairs and it brings you up.
There are 3 ways to get into that area. Yeah, so it is very interesting because I'm sure the way that you got it. I mean, you didn't even get in there via a mission, so it's like
right.
I know what cave entrance you're talking about because I explored that whole area.
Yeah,
I came in through via the way that the mission was targeting me to go to, and then expanded outwards to go to both the east and west side because there is tunnels that go all underneath the tower or whatever. Yeah, and I do like that. I mean, look, you got gifted a I don't know, getting ahead of the quest a little bit, just by exploring and everything. So
yeah, because I had no clue. I just got to the top of the tower, and then they were like, "Yeah, here's the skeleton key," and I was like, "Oh, the thing that everyone in the town in the beginning of the game was talking about, oh, if you have this key, you can open all these doors."
How did the dialogue go when you went to Reeve? Where you're supposed to get that mission? They're like, "Wait, you already have it." Is there anything like that, or?
I don't even remember. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I spoke to everyone, but I guess I didn't speak to whoever was like, "Go get this key." That's a quest. So I don't know. I think maybe I went back into town and opened whatever doors I could use the key with, but I still didn't speak to whoever it was.
That's hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just have the key. Whatever, no big deal. But that's what's cool about this then, because we both approached it from different ways, and we still got what we needed.
This is a 30-year-old game that we're talking about having. You know what I mean? It's very strange to me that this game, and I think all this stuff was for the most part in there. I think again the map is a little expanded or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was still a lot of these different type of routes and stuff like that to get places. And just what an impressive game for it being as old as it is. You know,
they thought that out. They thought out ahead that you could just be meandering and just stumble into this regardless of not speaking to whoever it was. Because you could just not even get the key. You could just end up not going to the tower, not get that key, not open those doors, and get extra stuff.
It's true. Yeah, and you know what? What's cool about because I know the story. This again, it's a 30-year-old game, so the story is not going to be the most memorable thing in the entire world. But I do like the setup a lot of your dad went on this mission and died.
Ortega.
And you have to follow in his footsteps, and you've got to finish what he started or whatever.
Yeah.
And what that happens is it creates a framework for what Dragon Quest is known for is more vignette stories, not really an overarching story, but these stories that are more attached to the town that you're in, and the things that you're doing there, rather than there being some huge overarching narrative with a lot of twists and stuff like that. And I do like that framework of every time you go, oh, you're Ortega's kid. So it's you kind of have this idea that you're kind of living in the shadows of your dead dad, you know?
Yeah.
I know there's going to be a point where you fight this archfiend that killed him and stuff like that. And I'm sure, it's going to be at least there's something that you're chasing after. Whereas even your Final Fantasy 1s and 2s and stuff like that, not a lot of story, because these games didn't really have that, not in the way that we think of stories in RPGs, at least today,
Sure.
But at least there's something here, and I like that. And I know there are those vignette stories as well, per area, and the voice acting helps, kind of elevate some of the more, story type of stuff or whatever. But you're not going to get your skirt blown up by this story. But it is present, and you at least have a framework of what you're working towards, which I do appreciate. So
yeah, being the descendant of some hero, that was really important. And I mean, clearly there's going to be something, because what's the number one rule when it comes to deaths in media, Kyle? If you don't see the character die, are they really dead?
Yeah, that's true. It's a Jack situation where your dad is the arch demon now or something. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
your dad became God, and now you have to fight him. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's a decent enough premise, again, especially for a 30-year-old RPG where it's like, all right, cool, I have something important I gotta, and like you're a kid, you're 16 years old.
You're
They're
16,
like, all right,
yeah.
like today's the day that you're gonna go on your journey and go fight
Your
monsters.
seasoned father, who is a hero for life, couldn't finish this, and they're like,
sure,
get this kid out there to finish this job.
Yeah, get him out of here.
Really like the character design for the character though. Always have for this guy, because you see this character in Smash Brothers and a bunch of other places. It's over Dragon Quest art a lot, like this spiky haired, black haired,
the Gohan hair,
and all that stuff. Yeah, Gohan haired protagonist here. And I just really like the sprite work for him specifically, and the sprite work for all the characters are really cool. Even the bad guys, which you do get a nice view of, with it just being in that first person view. But yeah, I do like the look of this game quite a bit, especially all the towns. The towns are so awesome. The music is so good. Ugh. Oh, it's so good. It's incredible.
Even the little sound effects, Kyle. When you leave a building, it does the old like chip tuney type of sound bits of like you leaving a building.
Finish a match too, that bling, like all those like little all those little things that like Pokemon did, like everything stole everything from this game, from this era of JRPGs. So it is cool to like get to play a time capsule game like this, which like has enough bells and whistles and enough new paint on it to make it feel new enough that you're not playing some like ancient game. Because like go back and look at like you were saying, like old, like not the remakes over the years, not the Game Boy remake or the DS. I'm talking the old one where it's just like it's not great looking. You'd have to have a particular fondness for those types of graphics to like really appreciate that.
Or a high curiosity. You'd have to really be like, let me see what my dad or my grandpa was into back in the day. Like, and be curious about that sort of thing. Which
it's true.
I was going to say some kids do appreciate that, which I like when parents nowadays will be like, "Hey, kids, like this is what I used to play," and like some of the kids actually dig that.
I feel like if you have a fondness for a hobby, and this goes for movies and stuff like that too, like it's good that you go back and like look at the you know what I mean? Like where did we come from? How far have we come? As an industry and stuff like that. And yeah, I guess I urge you, if you've never played this game, like, and you love JRPGs, I think you really owe it to yourself to like pick this game up. And like, because even me, who we grew up in this era, and like, maybe it was just a little too old for us to get into it, because 92 I would have been like 6, like I don't know how many JRPGs I'm playing at that age, but like I don't know. I think everybody owes it to themselves to, again, like go back to a classic, see where it all started, see where all these ideas kind of were birthed, and appreciate even more like how far we've come and everything like that in this particular genre. And I'm very excited to be on this particular journey.
Yes, and people out there, Kyle, they're always saying not enough RPGs. We keep getting all these action games, yada yada yada. I don't want to hear any complaints when these RPGs start to die off because people aren't buying them. Give them a chance.
True. Yeah.
Give these games a chance.
I know the Steam numbers aren't like great on this game either, so I don't know how that's translating to sales, but like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you like JRPGs, you need to buy them, guys. Like, they will stop making these, or the industry's in a volatile state where they're chasing things that are working and things that are working only. And if we're not buying these things, we're not going to get them. That's just how it works. So
at least 1 and 2 is like in development. So, fingers crossed those stay that way and we do get them. So.
Yeah, and I hope these things have long legs. I know stuff like Octopath Travel always had like long legs, like the sales, transpired over the course of a year or two rather than just a really, really, really heavy beginning. So a heavy first couple months, So I, maybe this game has like those types of legs as well in terms of sales.
Hope so.
Go out and buy this game, y'all, if you like JRPGs.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%, Kyle. Well, I'm glad that you bought it too, because I wasn't sure if it was just me or if you had actually picked it up. So thank you for being insane with me, Kyle.
Yeah. I cannot wait to beat one of these 100 plus hour JRPGs I'm in the middle of. I think thankfully, I think this one can be like only 30 hours or upwards to like 60.
Sure.
Depending on how much like, jerking around you're doing, but like
this ain't no 100-hour.
Yeah. So I think I could probably finish this one up, in a decent amount of time. And so those other 2 dang games that just won't end.
I know exactly what you're talking about too, because I'm in the middle of one of those. But the other new game that came out this week, and I did not get this because I just don't really play the Lego games anyway. Lego Horizon Adventures.
Yeah, the reviews are kind of whatever, you know. I've seen as low as 5 and as high as 7, so you know, that's kind of where they're at.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Dude, this series just can't catch a break though with like release dates. I feel like a Horizon game always releases at the wrong time.
Like I don't know why everyone knows that Call of Duty releases right around then. So like, why would you? I know Call of Duty's not its exact competition, but like it's a competition enough, you know, where you put it after the best-selling game of the year every year for the last like 20 years. So it's like, I don't know. It was poor Horizon guys. You know, I don't know what's going on over.
Even the DLCs always release around like I think the last 2 DLCs. This last one was I think right around the Elden Ring DLC.
Yeah,
and then that first one was. I don't know. It was I swear it was like Sekiro or something. I don't know. They just can't release stuff at the right time, Kyle. They just can't.
Yeah, and they just released like the remake of the first game like 2 weeks before It's just like, God, what are you guys doing, man? Like, I know these are different studios too, so there's probably not a lot of collaborating on you know, release dates, but like still come on, you know, like you got
Horizon just can't catch a break. Yeah, just can't catch a break.
Right.
It was Tears of the Kingdom, I think it was. There was some I think there was some it was close to Tears of the Kingdom, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Can't catch a break.
I hope this game's doing okay though. Like I think it's a cool idea to like get younger people into a game with like robot dinosaurs and then have 2 big cool games waiting for them when they're old enough to play them. So
yeah.
And it's, you know, these Lego games are always fun to play co-op with your family and stuff like that. So
the trailers looked fun. Like I was not like, oh, this looks stupid. Like they look fun, but it's just not. I'm not into them really.
I buy like the Star Wars ones. That's my that's my extent with playing the Lego games.
That sounds on brand. That sounds on brand.
Yeah.
I mean, if they made a Final Fantasy Lego game, I'd probably be like, all right, well now I'm gonna play Lego.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I mean, I'd be pretty interested in that. Yeah.
100%. Then they got me.
I always daydream of a Final Fantasy Muso game. All those characters.
Yeah, dude. You know, I mean, they did it. They've done it with like Zelda, and
they've done it with everything. Yeah,
Fire Emblem, right?
Like, please go after Final Fantasy. You know, court Final Fantasy.
Dude.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Omega Force.
Either Muso, because that would be rad, or a really nice like. What was that new Guilty Gear game, Strive? Because the art in that is just immaculate. Give me like a Final Fantasy fighting game like that sharp.
The people who did Dragon Ball Fighter Z as well, and
or Dragon Ball Fighter. Like, give me
what is that? What is that? That's a really famous studio, and I can't think of their name all of a sudden.
Oh, I can't think of. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
they're great. They created Guilty Gear. They're the best. They're the best. Like they're like the best fighting developers in the biz. That's not Capcom.
Yeah, give me a Final Fantasy game that looks like that, and I'm like. I'm
in. Yeah,
take all my money.
I could think you could do a Final Fantasy fighter. I think that's super easy.
Oh yeah, 100%. But other quick, releases we could, whatever. Tetris Forever.
Arc System Works is the dev, by the way.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
Been around forever.
Yeah. Tetris Forever, by the way, Kyle, came out this week. So
I like Tetris. Yeah, I'm kind of an OG Tetris guy, though, if I'm being honest. So
yeah. I mean, I respect that they're still trying to like pump out Tetris game, be like, hey, kids, Tetris,
Tetris rocks, dude. Yeah, put it in any version, put it in any form that you need to put it in.
Yeah,
keep the dream alive.
Farming Simulator 25, which is probably why Tim's not here, because Tim loves simulator games, so he's probably playing.
That's what he's doing. He's playing Farm Simulator. Yeah,
he's farming. Tim's farming. The rise of the Golden Idol, which I have absolutely no clue what that is.
Let's just guess what it is. I think it's a walking simulator game.
Okay. I think it's something to do with American Idol in some way, shape, or form.
I like your answer better. Yeah, let's go with that one.
It's something American. It's like Rock Band, but just the singing part.
Yeah, sure. And then afterwards, like computer like guest like scream at you for like sucking or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
You sound like a donkey or whatever. I don't know.
Gordon Ramsay shows up.
Yeah,
he calls you a fucking donut.
Yeah.
He calls you a fucking donut. Which, by the way, my wife and I are, because we wrapped up our newest watching of The Office, and we're watching Hell's Kitchen. Not this season because there's a new season that's on right now, but the last season, man, dude, Gordon Ramsay is just the best.
Make his every weekend. I make his famous eggs with like creme fraiche on top of like toast, and like exactly
how is that, man? Because they look mushy. Dude. Is it?
It is mushy. I mean, it's a runny scrambled egg for the most part, but its runniness comes from the creme fraiche. That's why it looks runny, because it's got like sour cream in it, pretty much.
Right.
More creamy,
it's just as far as texture with eggs, I'm not fond of like a runny egg, but I'm curious like what it tastes like. Because it's
not really runny, it's not like sunny side up, It's, It is a scrambled egg. It's running. It looks extra wet because there's extra like cheese in it, There's that cream, that creme fraiche is in it. So put a little scallions on top of it. Put it on top of I put it on top of like toasted sourdough with butter,
That's awesome, Kyle. I know that. I didn't know you were a Ramsay fella.
I don't watch a lot of Hell's Kitchen. I've seen plenty of episodes over the years, but like I like his recipes usually. Like he knows he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, he knows a thing or two.
He knows a thing or two. Some stuff. He might be a professional. Stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, just a regular guy who can kind of cook a couple things here and there.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to just jump into the predictions now, or do we want to like just kind of cycle through the headlines real quick? Or
let's go through the headlines. We can save.
Yeah.
We can save the predictions for the main event here.
Well, we'll get these things out of the way. These headlines, which I didn't realize there's a decent amount of them this week apparently.
It's an okay news week, I guess.
Yeah, okay news week. So let's see. Dragon's Dogma and Devil May Cry director now leading new Tencent studio.
You left to go run a Chinese studio? Ugh, come on,
dude. What the hell?
Come on.
You abandoned Dragon's Dogma and Devil May Cry. Oy. All right. Well, all right. Here's the story, Kyle.
I hope you got a good
I mean, sure. Good. I hope so. Yeah, good for him. Capcom veteran Hideki Itsuno has returned to development, leading a new studio owned by Tencent subsidiary Lightspeed Studios. No specific games have been announced from that team yet. So there we go. He's working for the enemy.
They took the Yakuza director too, Tencent. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, did they really?
So yeah, it's like they are just collecting all-star, rock-star Japanese developers.
Sure.
And guess what? Guess what? That guy who created Yakuza is making right now. Who knows? There's been literally no word on it, and that's kind of what happens when you go over to Tencent. You just go over there and you're never really heard from again.
Yeah, you actually disappear. You're not.
Really bums me out because I think the Devil May Cry director does some of the best combat that you could possibly ever conceive, in video games. But hey, have fun, I guess. Enjoy your paycheck.
Yeah, they just go over there and get actually like physically absorbed into the company. So
yeah, they're just
no longer exists.
It just disintegrate into the ether.
So that's fun. That's cool. Here you go, Gaston. This is for you. Spyro Reignite, which he obviously already knows. Spyro Reignited Trilogy on Game Pass now. It's on Game Pass, so there you go.
We've never played a Spyro game.
Really? None of them?
No. I never played any of like Banjo-Kazooie. Like, never played any of these like mascot. It wasn't my jam.
The Spyro games are a little different, whereas like they're more like they're kind of more open, whereas Crash Bandicoot is more like a
I remember seeing gameplay of like Spyro, and it did seem a little more hubby, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like where you're in an area collecting stuff, kind of like Donkey Kong.
Open a door, go to another hub area. Yeah. But that's all.
I missed out on like a whole childhood that people had, with these types of games. Yeah,
I got I think I got all 3 platinums for the remasters there, because that was actually the first time I played them. My wife and I were playing them together.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
It was.
Like, I miss Gex, remember Gex like back in the day?
I never played Gex either.
That whole era of like late 90s, early 2000s, like really deep cut like mascot games that always looked cool, but I just never I never played. Even Jak and Daxter, I've never played a single one of those either,
I did that trilogy. That actually was really fun.
I really wanted to. I actually wanted to play those too. I don't know why my path never crossed with them. They just like the Ratchet and Clank games, which I'd never played until the PS5 one. They always had like the best like commercials and stuff like that. Jak and Ratchet and all that stuff. So
it did.
And that's my love of those games. Is like, boy, the marketing was great. Even for Spyro, I remember like.
Or even Crash. Remember Crash with the microphone?
Crash is the best. I've said it on this podcast, and I'll say it over and over again. Greatest marketing campaign in the history of video games is the Crash commercial.
He was outside Nintendo headquarters, right? Just yelling at
screaming into a megaphone, like a dude in like just the biggest, most gaudiest like Crash mascot outfit with his dumb little head. Like, it was the best, dude. I loved it. Yeah,
it's hilarious. Tom Hardy's Splinter Cell. Wait, Tom Hardy? Tom Hardy's Splinter Cell movie is reportedly canceled.
Maybe we talked about this on the podcast. I've never heard of this project. So if I knew about it, I completely forgot about it. I never knew Tom Hardy was attached. Maybe I knew there was a Splinter Cell movie. I had no idea Tom Hardy was attached to it.
I think I'm in that same boat. I'm pretty sure I vaguely remember the movie being like, yeah, we're going to do this. But Tom Hardy.
An anime series. Maybe that's still coming.
I know this Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider just came out.
Yeah, I thought there was like going to be like one of those, but for Splinter Cell. Maybe that's still coming. I don't know. But boy, talk about something else that just can't catch a break. Like Splinter Cell just can't. It's weird because like this one just went away with like no fanfare. Like I don't think it had like a bad entry, did it? Like I don't remember any of their games.
Cell?
Like, I don't remember any of their games doing so poorly where they're like, we got to take a break with this. I could be wrong, but like usually you take a long break from something after like multiple failed entries. You know what I mean? Especially
maybe
high profile IPs.
What was the last one that they made?
That was the one that was after Conviction. I forget what it was called though.
Because Conviction was the one that was kind of in development hell, from what I remember.
I think that's right, and that was the one where like they had the Red Dead painting your target mechanic, where you could like walk into a room and like paint a bunch of people and like shoot them real quick. I thought that game was awesome, but and this game had all that stuff too. But like there was a lot of like daytime missions, and you were in the middle of like a war zone. I forget what that one was called, but like I don't remember people hating that one. I could be wrong though. I could have a false memory of that. But it's weird that we have not had more of anything from Splinter Cell.
So apparently this planned Splinter Cell movie starring actor Tom Hardy, which is news to both of us, has been canceled. Its producer has suggested news around the live action movie first announced in 2012, Kyle. 2012. So maybe this is why we forgot about it, because it was announced all the way back then.
Announced like 12 years ago. Okay, that makes sense.
As protagonist Sam Fisher has been fairly silent for more than a decade since. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking with the director, producer Basil I don't even know how to say that dude's name, who signed on for the Splinter Cell project in 2013, has suggested that it's no longer happening. Yeah, no doy.
So this is
over a decade. Yeah, it's just over a decade. Like it was just
I saw the headlines, but it's not really news, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that's wild to me. The whole Tom Hardy angle there. Let's see. I see Blizzard. I'm like, ooh boy, okay, what's this about? Blizzard is advertising job roles for an upcoming open world shooter game. Okay. Blizzard. Okay. Is it just single player though, Kyle, or is it gonna?
It's Overwatch, the open world game. I don't know.
Sure. The job roles have been published following a report earlier this year that Blizzard was once again working on a StarCraft shooter. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember hearing about this because I immediately made a joke. I'm like, it's StarCraft Ghost.
Dude, I would love if they revived it.
30 years later, we're getting it, everybody.
I would love that.
Yeah, it'd be so
The
amazing.
redemption.
We're getting it. All those magazines it was in all those years. We're finally going to get it.
That would be amazing. Multiple roles include associate design director, senior design director, the principal designer for an unannounced game are being advertised. Several of the job listings reference an open world shooter game. No further details included in the job description. Yeah, that would be hilarious if it was StarCraft Ghost. That'd be hilarious. Sophie Turner is reportedly in talks to play Lara Croft.
Okay.
Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner is reportedly Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the British actor, screenwriter, and producer who won Emmy, Golden Globe, and BAFTA awards for her work on Fleabag. It sounds familiar, but I didn't watch it.
Big show that everybody loves. I don't know. I've never seen it.
Okay. Is serving as writer and executive producer on the show. Cool.
Okay. She's talented. Yeah. Good actress, good writer. So.
Yeah, I think I saw something where there was a couple of competing, like rumor, like this actor, this actress, or this actress, and yeah, Sophie Turner was one of them. So
yeah, I mean, Sophie Turner was Jean Grey, so she has been in action movies before, you know. But I think Tim said it, and it's just like I wouldn't have ever predicted that one. Same. I don't.
yeah.
She wasn't on my list, but I think it will be fine. Yeah, I think that's a fine choice. We'll see how it turns out.
I never did see that one. I know you guys have mentioned the last one that they made that just didn't do super well. So they keep trying to do Tomb Raider, and I don't know. It seems to not be.
I think more people than I want to admit like that last one. I hated it. I hated everything about it. But
okay,
I know I know a lot of people like either tolerated to liked it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
A big window of positivity.
Okay.
So I think there's a hunger for it. I think the anime is doing okay. I don't think the reviews are really great, but I think the watchability. I think people are watching it. I think the Nelson ratings.
Well, season 2's been.
Yeah, that's what So, I mean, enough people were watching it to get a season 2. So I think there's a hunger for this, man. You know what I mean? And I'm shocked that there's not a game in development. To be honest, like it just doesn't make any sense. This is another property where I'm just like, yeah, guys, the property's hot. You got to do something with it. You know?
Unless the sales like were dipping on a downward slope as the trilogy came out, right?
I think they dipped in the third one, and I think the second one didn't sell as well because it came out only on Xbox. And then came out way later on PlayStation, so like there was a little bit of weirdness there. I don't know. I feel like that series like started really strong, and I thought it was pretty good throughout the whole series. But like, just it didn't seem like Microsoft or whomever had the rights to it really knew what to do with the exclusivity. It probably suffered for only being on one console at a time, especially in the second game. So
yeah, I think that's definitely on point. Stalker 2 could be banned in Russia if it justifies terrorism. Okay. This is interesting. The Russian government is considering a ban a ban on playing Stalker 2 in the country because it could justify terrorism, according to a government official. It's claimed that the game, which is being developed by Kiev-based studio GSC Game World, could face a total ban in Russia, according to an official at one of the Russia's governmental bodies. Legal advisor Mikhail Micheliev warned that any Russians buying the game via a VPN or any other non-direct means could be seen as supporting a hostile force, Kyle.
Wow.
Man, they're so aggressive over there. Jesus Christ. According to Mushiliev, if I'm even saying that correctly, buying the game could meet the requirements for what the Russian government defines as terrorism. Whew. Wow.
All right. Jeez. That's all something. Yeah.
They love freedom over there, Kyle. They're big fans of freedom over in Russia.
Oh, man, their freedom is a little different than ours that we're used to, I guess.
Yeah. The definition's a little more hazy.
Yeah, it's a little murkier. Yeah.
Man, what a world we live in. What a world we live in.
I bet Australia still has more censorship than they seem like the most censored country.
They're so weird.
What games like never make it over there because of weirdness?
Yeah, and they're so expensive too. The games are so expensive.
I know. No wonder all their like talented actors and writers and personalities all come over here. They're like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, this I can't be spending
$120. I hear
Australia's
beautiful. Don't come at me in the comments.
True.
All of our Australian viewers.
Actually, quite a few Australian streamers that I know of and I hang out in their streams are very cool people. They're actually a very, very funny group of individuals over there. Them Aussies. Yeah. And then the last news story: Microsoft reveals its new marketing campaign. This is an Xbox.
Okay.
This isn't. Microsoft has revealed designed to highlight the numerous ways Xbox games can be played. The new slogan, "This is an Xbox," consists of a humor. Tim should have put humorous in quotes also. A humorous series of statements pointing out things that aren't an Xbox, such as bento boxes and bus stops.
Dan, are you an Xbox?
I might be,
because
Kyle.
This is an Xbox.
Yep.
I hate this.
Insert a disc.
I don't like this. Yeah, I don't like this campaign.
They're doing something.
I understand it. You know what I mean? Like everything's in it. You know what I mean? Like we our thing, because this was their goal, right? Was like always just like being this nebulous like thing that you just could just play games.
It's like a portal that you could go to and just be like, I'm buying Xbox games through this portal, like Steam, right? Almost like basically Steam, like essentially.
Right.
So
it's just about where you're loading your Steam, you know, or whatever.
But take this CD case that's box shaped, Kyle, and I'm gonna write Xbox on it. Xbox. and then it's an Xbox. Oh boy. Okay.
Good luck, Phil. You're doing great over there. You're doing real good stuff over there.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, where the F is Fable?
Fable is no longer Fable.
I'm hearing everything out of this company, everything except for the stuff I actually care about. You know, everything else they're happy to talk about ad nauseum. You know, but like, God forbid. Hey, we did get a really good look at that Swamp game though this week. They did. Some people
did they show new stuff?
Yeah, people got like behind closed door viewing of it, like a nice chunk of it. People came away pretty happy. So
nice.
Yeah,
it looks cool. It does look really cool.
Yeah, the fact that you don't know about it though is my point though. Like they're not marketing that, you know what I mean? Like I want to know more about your games, not like your marketing at like push like you're like this is for shareholders, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like this is Xbox and shareholders are going, we're going to make so much money. You and I couldn't care less about this, you know? Like it's just it's not for us, you know.
I mean, the thing for just me in general, Kyle, is I fucking hate ads. I hate them so much because I think they're all condescending and it makes me feel like they think I'm so stupid that I need to watch this like, 30-second to however long like thing being like, here's this thing and like you want this thing and you need this thing. And it's like, but I don't need that thing. So stop trying to treat me like I'm a moron. Like I don't need that thing. You know what I mean? When I know that I need something, I just go and I go get that thing. So I just don't, but I know that's not what it's about. It's about money, right? It's them being like, here's the ad and branding. Somebody gets money,
it's about
right?
Yeah. A brand. Yeah. It's about getting your name out there and yada, yada, you know?
But I don't know. It's just, I've never met a person who was like, I was watching a toothpaste commercial and then I was like, I got to go buy that toothpaste. You know what I mean?
Sensodyne's really taking off.
Ads are so dumb. I just can't stand them.
They are. Yeah. I mean, I guess, I understand their function and everything like that. I guess just about seeing them for what they are. Just see them like you see, like Neo sees Matrix coding, where you're just like, I see you for exactly what you are. And you're just like, you might as well just be a giant glowing sign out in the middle of nowhere. Like that's what an ad is.
Exactly. They're gonna stick their hand in me and then turn me into one of them, like Agent Smith.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what I meant. That's verbatim what I meant.
But yes,
purpose that binds us. Right, don't get me started.
We'll do. You know what? We're just going to talk about the Matrix now. So Kyle, the fifth Matrix.
We're not doing predictions, but we're going to talk about the Matrix. Yeah.
And anime. Get Jeffrey on the call. By the way,
we'll talk about the Animatrix, which is the Matrix and anime.
You know what? That's Kyle. That's perfect. We need a second Animatrix. I think we need more anime Matrix.
Agree with that,
yeah, we need more. We absolutely need more. All right. So yeah, the whatchamacallit awards are happening. Why am I not remembering? Oh, the Game Awards. There we go. The Game Awards. Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. They're approaching.
The 4-hour block of trailers that also gives awards in the middle of it, you mean?
When actually is the Game Awards?
Like the 8th or something? I forget what the exact date is. I think it's the 7th or 8th or something like that.
Yeah, so Thursday, December 12th.
Okay, so I was way off. Yep. All right.
Yep.
It was a whole week off almost, yeah.
So yeah, and Google is saying EST time because that's where I am. 7:30 to 11 p.m. So it's a 2.5 hours. No, 3.
It usually goes over
3.5 hours. Yeah, so 30 minutes of that is actually awards.
Yeah,
and then I hope they don't do the wrap it up nonsense that everyone was mad about last year.
Yeah, let's
figure something out.
There's always lots of criticisms with the Jeff Keighley joint, and all you can hope for is that he just takes the constructive criticisms and implements them in some way.
Yeah, let's figure something else out there instead of like somebody pouring out their heart and soul.
I don't have a lot of criticisms ever about the show, but that did bother me. Where I'm like, I want to hear from them. Like I don't. want you to be ushering them off, so like I could hear more about what I don't know, something I don't give a shit about. So yeah, I want to.
Yeah.
It's time. It's their time. They should be celebrated. Give them
Yeah.
longer than 30 seconds.
Exactly. But let's see. Let me get the thingamabob up here. So we're gonna predict ourselves what we think falls in certain categories. So we got game of the year, best narrative, best game direction, which I never really know what that means. Best
like
art direction.
Director. That's what I just
sure.
Do. Like,
yeah. So Kojima,
yeah.
just Kojima.
Yeah. Kojima wins that every year, or Remedy. It's Kojima or Remedy. That's who wins that.
Best art direction, best score and music, best indie game with most nominations. So Tim added that in there as well, just for funsies.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. do we want to? You want to start? We'll start like at the bottom, going up to game of the year.
Let's do games with nominations last.
Yeah.
So start at best indie, work up, and then game Okay, yeah. Yeah. I know it's a little weird for how it's written, but.
Nah, it's fine. We're just, and I know Tim usually shares the screen, but like it's just a very white, bright screen, and just look at our faces. We're really handsome, you know. I mean, Kyle's handsome. I'm okay, you know.
I was
Kyle's
talking about you, so we had the same idea of being deprecating. That's funny. You and I both went self-deprecating.
So it cancels it out. It cancels out. All right. So best indie. Kyle, do you have any? So we're choosing 3, by the way, for each of these categories. So
I feel like you have to go Balatro, you have to go Neva and Animal Well, which it looks like that's what Tim chose as well. Which right. Tim gave us ahead of time what those are going to be. Did he really choose those same 3? Okay, Jesus.
Yeah, he did. Just out of order. You swap Animal Well and Neva.
I only say Animal Well because it seemed like everybody on Earth liked that game, and when I saw it, I was like, no, I'm not playing that.
Sure.
Same thing with Balatro. I get everyone loves that, but like, oh man, I really suck at card games. We've heard this before on this podcast. My disdain for not being able to understand card games and games.
Sometimes they click, sometimes they don't. It just it's just whatever. It's whatever it is. We
will be giving Tim's predictions since he's not here and he wrote them ahead of time. So we'll
right, yeah. So off. Yeah, so Tim did Balatro, Animal Well, and Neva. Kyle did the same. Yep. I mean, I did Balatro, Neva as well, because I mean, Balatro just seems like an obvious one. Like that thing exploded this year.
Balatro?
Balatro? Is it Balatro or Balatro?
I don't know. We are not the subject matter experts on Balatro. I don't know.
But yeah, so I'm trying to like just real quick here look on this like list that I have here just to see like I'm like maybe something else, but like people were like, oh, Animal Well, man, like Animal Well.
Yeah, people like that. Remember that reviewers love that game, and reviewers are the majority voters in this. So that is. If we end up all just choosing the same thing,
it's just going to be a 3-way tie, and that's just silly.
It's true. But hopefully this won't happen too much. We'll see.
Was UFO 50 considered indie? Like I wonder if that's because I'm trying to just be like, let me just choose a different thing. And I know like,
great choice.
Yeah, Tim hyped that up, and it sounded interesting, and I think people were like definitely like into that.
That's what Spelunky. Dev, I'm pretty sure, and Spelunky is considered an indie, so I'm pretty sure that's right. Okay. I could be wrong on that.
Well, I'm putting it in there, and even if I don't win, I don't care. So that's how I'm approaching this.
Who cares?
I don't give an F. All right. Next is best score in music. So Tim went with Rebirth, Black Myth Wukong, or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for anybody who doesn't, possibly doesn't know. Black Myth Wukong and Metaphor Refantasio. So
I will have 2 of the same. I will have Metaphor and Final Fantasy VII, but I'm going to go Dragon Age for my 3rd one.
Okay. Dragon Age Veilguard?
Yeah.
Or the Veilguard?
The Veilguard, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played enough to like... Did I spell Veilguard wrong? Is it E before I? Actually, no.
I before E, except after C. That's all.
Okay, yeah. E looks right. E before the I looks right. I haven't played enough of Veilguard to really speak to the music. That does sound. I mean, what I've heard of in the first like 5-6 hours, it is pretty solid. Let's see. Let me look through here, because again, I don't want to just do the same thing. What other games have I played this year where I'm like, oh, duh, freaking Stellar Blade, dude. Stellar Blade deserves to. As much as I love Final Fantasy Rebirth,
that's gonna get nominated.
Yeah. I almost want Stellar Blade to win that category just because it deserves it. That music is unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree.
So do you want to keep your choices, or
I want to. I want to. At least all three of us are doing. I just for the sanctity of the bet, I'm going to keep it. But just know that I'm choosing Stellar Blade, so I get some phantom points, and if that helps me win, then it counts. But if it doesn't, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll run it by Tim. We'll run it by him. We'll see. We'll see how that is.
Yeah, he's gonna remember all these like ancillary like
100%
Kyleisms that No, Tim, no. Let the jury show that if this doesn't get chosen, I get a half point for he's just like totally glass-eyed. He's like, I'm not listening to this.
Yeah, well, there's a little asterisk in the fine print, the Kyleism. It's there. It's there. The best art direction is the next one. So Tim went with Metaphor, Astrobot, and Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which I think are pretty solid choices. I think those are pretty solid.
Yeah. Art direction, I'm gonna go Black Myth Wukong. Metaphor, and I don't know. Why don't you name your couple and let me think about my third one.
Are
you choosing those tricky. Two as well, Metaphor and Black Myth?
I was, but I'm kind of like trying to maybe lean in other directions too.
Yeah.
Because in my head I'm like, oh, but what about Persona 3 Reload? Because it's like it's a remake. Does that count? Like,
are they gonna count that? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Because I mean that game's beautiful. They did a really good job with the visuals of it. You know what? I'm gonna put it in there, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But yeah, that game's pretty gorgeous. So. And then Hades also is like a beautiful game, but does that count because it's early access? Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Put Neva there for me.
Oh, sure, yeah. Actually, that you know what, Kyle? That's actually
every once in a while they like to throw in a small guy amongst all the big guys. So
yeah, I think that's I'm adding that too. Sorry, I'm taking your answer.
No, that's all right. It's the right answer, so I understand.
All right. So Kyle, you're going with Black Myth Wukong, Metaphor, ReFantazio, and Neva?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But you see, like 7 is, dude, Rebirth is beautiful though.
I think it's gonna get shafted on art design because I think it's gonna get Game of the Year, narrative, game direction. I think it's going to get all that stuff. I think it's going to get nominated.
Which is funny that you're saying narrative because obviously there's just a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people that loved it, but then also a lot of people are like, oh, the narrative is that story's so dumb.
I haven't seen much of that, but I don't. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Yeah, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
You know, with me with streaming and just kind of being more intrinsically tied into like social media, like I definitely see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are out of control. All right, so yeah, I went Metaphor, Persona 3 Reload, and Neva.
Okay.
So just a little bit different. Best game direction.
I think Atlas gets one for sure. I think Metaphor has to be one. Did he choose one of those? Yeah. What did Tim choose?
He went with Astrobot, Dragon's Dogma 2, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I don't think Dragon's Dogma is going to get nominated because it's had so many issues. Like performance
again, I still don't really understand what the qualifications for this category is.
It's like think of it like director. How was how front and center was the creator of the game pitching you the game? How well did he sell the game? How well did he make the game? How well did the game come out in a state of? Was the product good? You know what I mean? Like that's what game directing is. Like, was it directed good? Think of it like in movie terms. When the movie came out and you're like, man, that was a good movie. It was directed really well. Like. Yeah. Just like the production of the game went smoothly, and the creator themselves were very front and center, which would be Metaphor. It would be Final Fantasy to me as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Like a Dragon Infinite.
Okay.
For my third one.
There you go. All right, so you're doing Rebirth, Metaphor, and Like a Dragon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I have Rebirth and Metaphor as well. But then I'm trying to think of maybe another one here.
And I also like, just to speak up against myself, because Tim did choose Dragon's Dogma 2. I think that could win as well because the director of this game is so beloved. You got to think about that too. Of like, if you saw Kojima in this category, he's getting it. If you saw Sam Lake in this category, he's getting it. And that director of Dragon's Dogma is so loved. And I would argue also, like, I think Final Fantasy 16 got nominated, whenever it was for Best Game Direction. Obviously, that director of that game was so vocal and so front and center and so involved and everything like that. So yeah, maybe Dragon's Dogma does get it. Maybe it's excused because I didn't have a lot of problems with that game. People talk about that game like it runs like garbage, but
oh really?
That was not my experience with that game at all.
No, ran beautifully for me.
Yeah.
So. I'm just gonna throw in this one. I'm gonna throw a curveball in here, Kyle. I'm gonna do Echoes of Wisdom.
Oh, it's a great, absolutely. Nintendo is absolutely. That's a great choice.
Yeah, I feel like they were hyping out, like when they announced that game, they're like, "Hey, here's something really quirky that we've never done. Finally playing a Zelda, guys!" And they were talking it up, and so I'm gonna throw that in there. Let's see if that gets any love. Yeah, let's see if that gets any love. All right, so second to last one before we do the extra one that Tim threw in there. Best narrative. So Tim went with Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, 7 Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantasia. So
that would be my 3 as well, but to keep it interesting, trade out Like a Dragon for Dragon Age. I think Dragon Age was going to get a nod. I know, again, reviewers liked the story, or the
Oh, so you're trading in Like a Dragon. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that game got a lot of 9s too, so.
Yeah.
Nah, fuck it. Keep those 3. No, I want those 3. I want Like a Dragon, Final Fantasy, I want Metaphor. Tim was right. All right. Tim's right. He's right on this one, I'm telling you.
Let's see. That's the thing. You're probably right. I didn't get to play Infinite Wealth. Obviously, I'm very like that whole series is something that I need to actually finally, get to.
It's about 1,000 hours of game right there.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually. Eventually, it'll happen. Man, but what else though? It's something like a curveball here. What else? Ooh, I wonder. Is Silent Hill 2 out of contention? Like Silent Hill 2. It's in.
Yeah, that's gonna get that. I think that game would have been good for Best Game Direction. That would have been a good. I think that game will get nominated for a few things. To be honest, Silent Hill 2 for Best Narrative is a great choice, dude.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw that in there. Choice. All right, so you're good with your 3?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and last but not least, Game Year. Tim went with 7 Rebirth, Black Myth Wukong, Metaphor ReFantasio.
Okay. I mean, those 3 are right.
Yeah, I'm putting those 3.
I think I'm going to put those 3 as well.
Because people,
I didn't know if I wanted to change. I think Like a Dragon will get nominated, but I think these are definitely the running 3 of the year right here.
Because I know that people are very strong about being like, Black Myth is like the game of the year, man. It's like, all right, I mean, I haven't finished it.
I think that people feel pretty strongly about that,
and
I think Dragon Age gets nominated for a lot and wins nothing, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah.
I think it gets nominated for a few things and wins nothing. Just to throw out some other like quick predictions, and I think Final Fantasy, like, I think it sweeps up a couple. I couldn't tell you which ones, but I think like it's. Again, like when that game came out, like it was getting 9s and 10s. I think as time has gone by, I think people like to do this where they're like, well, it wasn't that good, but like,
course.
I think that's just like what happens to all games. I don't think that has anything to do with what Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, obviously, aside from me being a Final Fantasy fan, of course, I would love to see Rebirth win Game of the Year because, I mean, I don't pretty sure Remake didn't, and as far as these awards have been going, 16 didn't as well. So it would just be cool to see a Final Fantasy win Game of the Year.
I want Metaphor to win, and I think it has a pretty good chance.
Sure. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
You know?
If not Final Fantasy, because it's an action RPG, like just a straight up like traditional RPG
I would
metaphor
love
winning
that. Yeah, like,
would be awesome.
I think Persona swept up, Persona 5 whenever it came out. Like, I think it is a franchise that's just like, for whatever reason, people like RPG wise, like turn based wise, which just it's hard. It's a hard market to move into. So
it is. It is. Yeah. So all right. So those are all
most
the main
noms
ones.
most noms.
Noms. Games. Well, that would, I guess, technically, if I don't know if that's just what Tim put down there, but like, is it based off of what we're picking, or what is?
No,
like,
are
we picking what we think will get the most noms?
Yeah. We're picking the top 3. We're basically picking the top 3 nominated games of the show right now, and I think again, Tim's choices are right here.
7 Rebirth, Black Myth Wukong, and Metaphor Refantasia.
Yeah, I think he's right. Yeah, I think he gets to claim that we're copying him too, because he did write all these down first. So
it's true.
You beat us to it, Tim.
But to be honest, I feel like we would have had those at the top of our head. So like,
yeah, it is true. Yeah. I think those 3 are all right. Just keep me down for those 3. I think those 3 will get nominated the most.
Man, these points are going to be really close.
It's going to be like a couple of these that we deviated from that are going to be like the real maker of the show.
Like,
you're going to win because you chose UFO 50. I'll tell you that.
I was going to say the opposite. I'm going to lose because I chose UFO 50 or Zelda.
That Zelda got getting points over on everybody.
So, all right. And then unfortunately, Jeff's Kyle. Jeez, I can't talk tonight. Jeff's row is empty because Jeff isn't here, and Jeff hasn't been playing a lot of video games because he's busy being a superstar. So, he's out there being famous and doing his thing. So
he would have just checked all like the internet data and lost again anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
You know what? Let's predict, Kyle. Let's predict what indie game that Jeffrey would have liked the most this year. What would you say would be the Jeff game?
Maybe.
Neva?
I think Neva would be. He loved Greece or whatever. Yeah, I think he would have really liked Neva. So, maybe even played it too. I'm not sure. It's just Neva for everything.
I put Neva in the whole thing. Neva is in every column in every category for Jeff.
Watch him win this year. It'd be hilarious.
If Neva wins every single one, that would actually be amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So now, Jeff, you're in there. We took care of it for you, Jeff.
You're immortalized. Neva.
Yeah. So you're good. Don't worry. We got you. We got you covered. All right. So there we go, Kyle. We did the thing. We adulted. We got the categories all taken care of. So we'll see what happens upon December 12th. What Jeff Keighley decides, right? Him and Kojima. It's just him and Kojima in the back deciding everything, right?
I hope they hold hands while they're like making decisions too.
Oh, 100%.
My headcanon is that they're holding hands. They're both wearing suits with sneakers on, and they're holding hands.
I'm surprised in Death Stranding they weren't holding hands.
Well, no one could. There was everyone was
social
distancing in that before that was a term. Everyone was already doing it in that game. That's because that game predicted Earth again.
It did.
Yeah, it's the second time in his career he's predicted some kind of.
You're actually an Amazon delivery person delivering all of that, because then everybody was ordering even more stuff from Amazon, right? Because you couldn't go out. So
yeah, the real heroes were the delivery drivers.
True. So thank you, Kojima. Thank you. Yep. All right, so there we go. We did that, and I guess the last thing would just be the quick hits, what we're watching and playing. So now it's anime time.
Anime time.
Woo. So yeah, if I think you, because it seems like you've been watching a lot. So I was gonna say for me, because like really the main thing, I think the only main 2 things that I have to mention is I've put a little more time into Metaphor.
What's a little, and where are you at time wise and vaguely and story wise? Because I'm very far. You're not going to spoil it for me. I'm worrying about everybody else.
Yeah. So I'm in the town where we took because you're supposed to be going out on like a hunt. We're trying to like get the points to be like who's going to be the king, and we're going to do the thing, and you got to go hunt.
So trying to find a monster head.
Oh yeah, you got to go find the monster, right? But instead you deviate to that town where the person's like, oh, there's like some kidnapping stuff going on. Like, can you help us out?
Dark stuff.
Yeah. So I'm in basically right smack in the middle of that. I'm going into the dungeon because we basically, the jig is up with the people doing the stuff. And we have now the 4th party member, which I completely forgot seeing in some of the like trailers, advertisement, that character. I was like, oh yeah, that character. They're so sick. Super cool looking character.
He is so cool. Yeah,
so cool. And the voice too, because it's like he's a little fella,
he's a little fella, but he's like your tanky warrior guy, you know, like, or
with like a deeper voice.
Really. I guess he's more of a DPS warrior guy, but like with a deep voice, very cool, very centered, very like samurai ninja like mixture.
Yeah,
you know?
with like honor, with like the whole like honor thing
like an
going
honor-based system, you know, and a race that, one of the few races in this that's like not like humanoid, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Very,
which I
like
love
him
that
a lot, and he that relationship is very cool as it grows to. I'm not going to say anything, but like it's that relationship between the protagonist and him, kind of, it's very cool. I like it, quite a bit, you know.
Yeah, so I'm right smack in the middle of that, so that's pretty cool. I mean, the game's awesome, man.
I have 45 awesome. in-game days left in the game, so I'm like in the third act. Like I'm assuming the third act's the longest act. If I had to take a guess, you know, I think the days are going to go by a little longer because a lot of it's going to be dungeons and yada yada. So where a lot of the second act, you're burning days pretty quickly. You're like, all right, I'm talking to this person, I'm doing this job, I'm doing this thing. All right, that day's over. Okay, let's do this and do. So like it just they go by really quickly. Whereas I can tell as I'm in the third act, like it's really like the days are long now, which is cool. So
so with this game, because I actually didn't know that they were still going to do like the day system with with Metaphor. Are you like pro that system or neutral or against? Or
I know a lot of people feel stressed or feel like they're on a time rushed, or they feel like there's a ticking time clock or yada yada, and like I don't know what to tell those people. I mean, like it can feel that way for sure, and I can see why people don't like it. That is the framework or persona for me, and it might I that's what I expect, you know, from these games, and I like that framework. So I like it, you know. Do I want every game on Earth to adopt it? No. you know.
Yeah.
But there's like something kind of like that in the Trails game I've been talking about all years too. You know, so it's kind of like day based and stuff like that. But yeah, I can see how people are not maybe frustrated is not the right word, but like apprehensive to it because they feel like they're missing something or and I get it. I've been playing these games for a while, so I kind of know that you always need to be focusing on stats first, you know? So it's like anything you do, like reading a book, you're gonna get your courage up. You're gonna get like, you need to do that stuff first. So it's like, I think if maybe that stuff bothers you, not you, but the royal you, everybody listening out there, watch a tip video or not a guide, but like just like what to focus on and prioritize, so you know that whenever you're about to choose what to do for the day, you kind of know what you're going after, because you will hit like barriers where it's like you just need 5 courage to talk to this person, sorry, and maybe you've been ignoring courage for the last 30 hours of your gameplay. You're gonna have a pretty tall climb ahead of you, and like that is a way where if someone is that far into the game and they really screwed themselves that way, I could see them going, I hate this, and I go, sure, I get it, you kind of shot yourself in the foot there. I get it. How about you? How do you feel on it?
Yeah, I'm like neutral. Neutral. It's because I mean, even going further back in gaming, like I mean, Majora's Mask has a time system. You know,
seeing that one stresses me out.
because that freaking thing's coming down at you with its big dumb face. You know,
sometimes you'd be halfway through a dungeon, I'm like, that thing's coming down, and like I'm gonna have to restart this stupid thing.
Yep, he's right there. That haunting face on that giant moon. Lightning Returns had a time system. Okay. Yeah. So it's not a new thing in video games, but yeah, it definitely adds that layer of stress where it's like, man, like, am I like you were just saying, like, am I doing at least the like required things, enough of the required things to really kind of like have things go at a steady pace? Am I missing something? You know,
and I can see how it's alluring to people to be like, well, I want to go on the quest. But like, but that takes up time, and then you ignore in Persona's case, the studying, and then you end up failing your exam, and everyone hates you because you're a big dumb idiot, you know. So it's like, and I get that. Like, there's all these like way more cooler carrots on a string that like the average person is going to be like, I want to go do the fun stuff, you know. And they might ignore all that other stuff where it's like, I don't want to go stand or sit on a bench and people watch to get like wisdom, you know, like I don't want to do like I waste a whole time slot to do that, you know, and I get that. I feel like I've been playing these games for like 15 years now. Like Persona 3 started this whole type of thing. What is that, 12 years ago? I forget, but like that, like it is kind of I am, you know, no, I'm a spring chicken when it comes to this. I'm very used to it. Yeah.
I do think I would have liked, because it's basically two, like whenever a new day starts, it's like there's either a cutscene or it's just kind of like the morning happens, but then it's afternoon and then it's night. I kind of wish they maybe give you the mornings to be able to do something.
See, and then that's Persona as well. You never have you don't have a thing to do in the morning, you know, like they, you know, again, like it's such a delicate like thing where they only give you, they give you a short amount of time on purpose. You cannot get to everything, you know, like, and I also will say this, and I told this to Jeff too, when he was playing like Persona and other Persona games, when he was trying those out, I'm like, just follow a guide. You know what I mean? Like if you want to take that stress out and like I want to know when I need to read and I want to know when I need to hang out with somebody. I need to know that, like, just like if that's stressing you out so much, just use a guide. And then you can just appreciate the game, and you'll get to see as much stuff as possible in a single run, because somebody has already done all the math of like when the best time to do everything is, and what to focus on. So whenever you hit those barriers that are, you know, level 4, level 5, whatever, you know, like you'll already be there and everything like that. And if you want to call all that stuff out, please, absolutely, I highly suggest that. You know, it is fun though to kind of like be the you know, the control of your own destiny a little bit, though. I do like that. You know?
Also kind of just like winging it is like also, it is kind of also freeing a little bit. Just kind of
and I would always argue, like, these games, you know, I know it sounds crazy to be like, they want you to play these games a couple times like through, and you're like talking about these 90-hour games or whatever, but they do, like, they do want you to play them a couple times. Take this first time to just screw up, not do things right. It's okay. Like the game, like you're never going to be in a place where like you can't move forward in the game. You know what I mean? So it's like, you may not be able to see everything in one go through, but like, I don't know. I feel like people get stressed out needlessly for this game. And while I understand where that stress comes from, and I can even like appreciate that people are feeling that, I feel like you can regain a little bit of that control by, you know, maybe dipping into a guide a little bit, or, you know, just telling yourself not to worry about it, you know?
Yeah. Also, Metaphor just in general is freaking awesome. So just play it. Like
it's just like, it's so cool. One of my favorite games I've ever played. It's absolutely outstanding. I love everything about it. I have the way it looks, the way it sounds, just everything about it. I think everything about that game is firing on all cylinders.
It's very cool. Yeah, and even like, because it's a predominantly serious game. Even like the like funny moments of like when they're like eating a certain dish, you get to that town, right? And there's some very unique cuisine in that town, and
I like that.
And Hulkenberg is all like, oh, this is good stuff.
Hulkenberg loves all food, and like you get to experience like all the culture's cuisines like through her in every city. It's very fun.
And Stroll is like, are you serious, lady? Like, are you kidding me? Like, are you for real? Like,
I think in that second village, are you eating like bugs and stuff like that? Bugs? Yeah. She's like, this is the best, and everyone else is like, whoa, it's so.
It's good. Like, oh, the texture is like different, but like then the flavor comes.
I like that too. Like every time like you go out on a mission and like come back, you always eat with your buddies, and you like like, hey, so what did we learn today? What did we do? I just love that. I love the decompression after every like, you know, mission or quest or whatever. I think like the framework of this game is so perfect. And I understand that like maybe people don't want as much talking, or maybe people want a little more combat and stuff like that. You know, like these games are half life sim, half RPG games, you know, so like there are other RPGs out there that maybe cater a little more to the action and stuff like that, and this is not that, but like, man, the people who really like these games, like they got the best version of like this game, you know.
Hey, you want less talking and less cutscenes? Go play Dragon Quest 3 HD-2D remake.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just run around and just do combat all day.
Yeah, I played like Dragon Age like for like 4 hours the other day, and I don't think I killed a single guy, and I was like, whoa. Sure. So
it's a lot of yapping.
It has been a month for like really chatty video games for sure. Yeah.
And this is why we can't finish anything, Kyle.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I basically I finished because you weren't here last week. I finished Silent Hill 2, so I'm finally like fully. My attention right now is fully Metaphor. I want to get Metaphor done. So
Good. Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 also pretty rad, but my God, that game is.
Were you able to not know what the ending was, or was that spoiled for me just from being like part of gaming?
Well, I know there's multiple endings.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, but like there's an I don't. It's hard to explain it. Like the big reveal
like
of what happened
ending
to your wife, like that is
sure.
That's pretty consistent across all endings.
Yeah. Because I knew nothing about this game.
So interesting to me because that's so openly talked about that like but Derek, it was the same way. A lot of people I've talked to, they're like, no, I it never got ruined for me. I'm like, it would be like, and I don't know if it ever got ruined for Jeff, but it would be like Jeff going into Final Fantasy VII not knowing Aerith died. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know how you got there. I mean, everyone talks about it so openly, but like that's similar thing, So kudos to you for keeping your head to the ground. You don't have to get that ruined.
I apparently was not in the circles that were heavy Silent Hill 2 circles, so I managed to be unscathed. But yeah, it's just, man, it's just so heavy. That game is just like it's like a 500-pound person just like unconscious on your back, just just pushing down on you. It's like, oh my God, get me out of here.
And it's a thinker too, because once you're done, and you start thinking about like what everything meant, like the how like every character's kind of projection of your sins and everything like that, like just that deep philosophical aspect of this series is like the things that like why people like this more than Resident Evil. Not a lot of philosophical stuff going on in Resident Evil,
There's more thinking going on in this, whereas Resident Evil is just like a virus exists and, this company unleashes it on the world.
Like punch a boulder in this game,
or sometimes you punch just a dumb boulder that's in your way.
You fight a big monster next to a volcano, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's just how
absolutely.
It goes.
Absolutely.
And you love both. You can love both,
yes,
Yes.
100%. 100%. And then the only other thing, and so anime wise, I've finally starting season 7 of My Hero Academia.
I'm so behind on that, but I am going to catch up on it. Yeah.
Oh, are you? Okay. So
wait, the last thing I did, who was the plague guy who was like, you know what I'm talking about? The guy who had like the sister who could take away people's quirks or whatever.
Oh, sure. Well, not the not the sister, but like the child.
The child, yeah. I finished that arc, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're, man, what is that, like, season 4?
I'm right before My Villain Academia or whatever. I'm right before that starts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think that was season 5.
5 or 4. Yeah. Oh, you're on 5. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I might be one season
7. I'm on 7. That's the newest one. So the newest one that just finished up is season 7. So you're in either 4 or 5.
I got you. Yeah.
We're in the end game, Kyle. We're in the end game now, as Doctor Strange would say.
Right. I like how that and Demon Slayer are kind of both ending at the same time.
Yeah, right.
Two new shonen like anime, like both ending kind of the same year.
And listen, like you and I, we're like pretty in the know as far as like what people think about shonen anime. It's like, oh, copy paste, whatever, like kind of framework, blah blah blah. Listen, man, like I don't care. Like My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer too, but we're talking about My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Is just like that shit hits me in the feels, man. Like nobody's business.
I think My Hero when things get as popular as that. And Dragon Ball had this too. We just don't like to think about it. Like when it was at its most popular when we were growing up, people were like, I just don't like that. And it's just because it's popular. And like that is its only sin is that it's popular,
Right.
Like, My Hero is a good shonen. It doesn't have to be your favorite, It is very well done though. Yeah.
Yeah. It just
it gets the money. It's a sharp looking anime,
Well, I mean, people love superhero stuff, and it's an anime about superheroes.
And it started at like the apex of like the superhero like cinematic movement,
MCU stuff happening and everything. So, but like, I mean, in my opinion, like I think it kind of like does better than the MCU because it actually explores like the villain stuff and like kind of like all the different villains that are in this anime and like what their angles are. And like, you have like the main big bad guy who's just kind of like, I just want to see the world burn and I want everything to be the way that I see it through my villain eyes, my perfect utopia, which is like very simple. But you have like all these ancillary guys around him that are just, there's more kind of going on there. You know what I mean? Like there was that assassin dude. What the hell was his name? Stain. Like he had like, he had like this sort of like philosophy about him that like almost seemed like it was heroic, but it's like, no, but he's a psychopath. You know what I mean? But like there was something there that like lit a flame in like other villains because like he was just so like coming from this place of like really in his heart believing the thing that he believed in, even though he's a murderous psychopath. And like I think that's really cool because it's like I feel like a lot of people really like when they explore like villains and it's not just simply this villain here killing people. You know what I mean? So I think, I just think My Hero Academia, when they do like explore things like that and they do it really well, it's like that really hits. But yeah, like where we're at now, Kyle, like I said, it's like it's the end game, man, and like things are happening and unveils are happening and whew, oh boy. Yeah, I can't say too much because I wasn't aware that you hadn't caught up with me, but
no, it's for whatever reason. Every time I'm like, I need to watch this, I'll like pick up a different anime. It has nothing to do with like My Hero. I'm just like the ADD nature of like trying to stay on top of the world of anime is crippling, like how much time it takes, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, because like for me, like video games is the main thing that I spend time doing. So like anime does tend to stack up. Like, I mean, dude, literally Jeff watched all the way through and finished Attack on Titan. I haven't even finished the last season. Like I still need to watch the last season. It's like, I know.
There are like maybe 3 things in the history of entertainment where the ending sticks like so well, where it's just like, whoa. Like Breaking Bad would be another one, you know, like we were talking about like top echelon, like endings,
I know.
You know, like
I know. And I just haven't watched it yet. And even like I said, like jokingly, because Jeff doesn't watch anime the way we watch anime, but like even Jeff has watched it and like got in like just
like in a week too. Like,
he just like
all of Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
like
which is a lot.
It wasn't even just like the end. Yeah.
So yeah, like I definitely get the whole like being like, oh, like I need to carve time out to watch watch that. So I need to do that with Attack on Titan. But yeah, My Hero is just, I don't know, man. I just think it's awesome. I think it's fantastic. So yeah. But Kyle, you've been watching a lot of anime.
I have. Yeah, the only other thing I've been playing just is Dragon Age. There's nothing more I can say about that. I'm like 50 hours in that game. I have no idea.
Nice.
I'm maybe on chapter 10 or 11 of 14, so I've got to be kind of close to the end. And I chose Nev to be my lady friend.
Nice.
And I coupled up Harding and Tash together. So little gal and big gal, and yeah, little.
I know you can play matchmaker.
Little person and big person. Yeah, you can play matchmaker. Yeah.
Okay.
Someone will come to you and be like, "Hey, what do you think about me?" And like you can like kind of like be like, "Don't do that. I'm kind of going after them too." Yeah. So like you can kind of like sabotage too if you're kind of like a shitty character, I guess. But yeah, the game's fun. I really like the combat a lot. Yada yada blah blah blah. And I've also been playing GTA Online because I never am not playing that game. It is GTA 5 is maybe the greatest game ever made. I don't know. Well, who knows?
Sure. Until 6 comes out, so you know.
Dan, I've been watching a lot of anime.
A lot, yes.
So much
not just movies though, right? But actual like
anime, series, movies, so much, you know. And there's no way we could talk about everything. The first thing I need to get out is I am a few episodes into my rewatch of Death Note. You're right, it's good.
Ooh.
I was wrong. I was wrong. Yeah, just get out and say it. I was wrong.
How many episodes are you in though?
Like only 3 or 4. Like it immediately clicked this time though.
Okay.
It like didn't click at all last time for me. Immediately right away. And I was like, oh, what's cool about this anime is it's about how quickly even a good person could become corrupted with like absolute power, pretty much. Like that's literally what it's about, and like it's so thought-provoking. It's very good.
Yeah, and then it turns into like a chess game, which is like really cool because it's like I don't know about you, Kyle, but like I love anime that like have fighting and like things going on, like just you know that kind of shit. But like this isn't really about that. So like for me, it was different.
Is something completely different. Yeah, the type of anime I usually watch, which I guess I watch a little bit of everything, but I too am like kind of like give me some spectacle, you know?
Yeah.
I think last time we talked about on here, I was rewatching like Berserk. I finished all that. That was fantastic. Okay. I finished Samurai Champloo for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Might be one of my favorite series I've ever watched in my entire life.
I need to watch that one. Yeah.
That one was like I stayed away from so clear from it as people are like, its legacy to me and my circle of friends were always like Cowboy Bebop's better. And like I hate that type of like conversation where it's like we're not talking about the thing that's the subject. We're talking about it compared to something else and that other thing being better. We're not having a conversation. You're just like saying, you're just making noises with your mouth.
Yeah, it's just.
And I fell for it. Yeah. That's Mon-Mi. Samurai Champloo is one of the greatest like anime. Period. Hard stop. It's 24, 25 episodes. One and done. It's so fantastic. Greatest music. Greatest animation. Great stories. More vignette-y, like Cowboy Bebop. It's more like vignettes and stuff like that.
Is it the same creator?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it okay? That's what I thought.
Shintaro Watanabe. Yeah. He's fantastic. Yeah. A lot of the stuff I've been watching is mostly his stuff because he's best in the biz. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Love that a lot.
Nice.
Speaking of another thing that people steered me away from, Ghost in the Shell 2, the movie. Everyone was like, it's just not as good as the first one. The first movie is good. It's one of the greatest anime I've ever made. I love the first Ghost in the Shell. If you like cyberpunk stuff, you owe it to yourself to watch Ghost in the Shell. I've always been told, don't watch the second one. Not even that it's not better than the first movie. It's just not good. This is one of my favorite anime films ever. It was so good. Everybody's wrong. I hate you for making me believe something that was incorrect for so many years. Sure. I could have been watching this movie my whole life and been enjoying it. But like
that's the thing, Kyle. People just love comparing stuff. That's the problem.
It is. And that again, when I start thinking about like what people were saying about these things, it was always, it's just not as good as that. I'm like, yeah, but you could play that game all day, like
okay, so
you have to open up your heart and judge the thing for what it is, and then you can play the comparison game. But like, just let's talk about the thing that's on subject right now. We don't have to like drag something else in, which I get. It's really easy to go, it's not as good, like a sequel's not as good as the first. I think that's a totally okay a thing to say and an opinion to have and yada yada. I just wish it wasn't at the sacrifice of having a real conversation about the thing I'm talking about,
Well, like people are just so simple-minded because it's like it can only be one thing or another. It's like or that thing that you love so much to you could be a 10 out of 10, and then this other thing could be like 9.5. But you're gonna sit here and talk about it like it's a 2. You know what I mean? Like it's a 9.5. Like that's amazing.
There are way bigger cyberpunk ideas in the second one. It is way more thought-provoking, the second movie. I might like it better than the first movie, and come at me in the comments. I really don't care. Like Ghost in the Shell is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm just letting you know. I like the sequel too. Might be better. You might be wrong about it if you think otherwise. I don't know. Check out that movie. It's super good if you've never seen it. I've also watched Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. You ever seen this movie, Dan?
I know I've seen one of them over my friend's house, but it was years, like when I was like a teenager.
2001, you may have saw the 1988 one. There was one from 88, a little more.
It might have been the 2001 because I was in high school when I went over my friend's house and he had that on. So
fantastic.
Okay.
It's a fantastic movie. It's absolutely fantastic. The animation's fantastic. Everything about it. Like if you liked Castlevania, this is like the same story where it's like a vampire loves a girl, but you slowly figure out like, oh, he really loved her. This is not like just some thing or whatever, like it's really good. I thought the story was fantastic. The other Shintaro Watanabe joint Cowboy Bebop creator, guy who did Samurai Champloo, he also did a little anime called Space Dandy. You ever hear about this anime?
Oh, I have heard of Space Dandy. Yeah.
Loved this. I always
Space Dandy is kind of silly sounding, but
it's a silly. The whole thing is silly. The whole thing is. Let me pitch it to you. It's a 1950s space serial. So it's like think of like Astro Boy or it's like a 1950s like it's like I know it's not like I know what I'm talking about, but think of that era like Speed Racer. Like old serialized content or whatever. And it's just like silly. Like at the end of every episode, all the main characters die usually. Some kind of existential thing. There's no canon. Like it's just like it's just a new thing every week. It's just nuts. These people were on drugs when they made it, like 1,000%. Like there's no way. Like my comparison is if Cowboy Bebop is for drinking whiskey and Samurai Champloo is for smoking weed because it's like it's hip hoppy and there's a lot of weed in that show actually. And jazz and whiskey, like they kind of go together. Space Dandy is definitely for doing acid and watching this show.
Like shrooms or acid.
Yeah, something psychedelic. Yeah, because these people are 1,000% on drugs. It's nuts. Like there's many episodes where they get sucked into wormholes and like the animation distorts and it's all weird. It is one of the most craziest animes I've ever seen animated. It's just wonderful. I absolutely love everything about it.
Awesome.
Highly, highly, highly recommend that one if you just want a really silly goose time, because there's nothing like you're not taking anything out of that other than good vibes, you know.
Just shenanigans.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of other stuff. I guess the thing I want to end on, so I could do this forever, but I don't want to take up too much time here. The last one, and it's another shonen one. I don't know if you're watching this. I'm sure you've heard of it. It is the biggest shonen going right now. It is everybody's favorite show. It just came out. A movie just came out a couple years ago. It is one of the best box office hits in anime movie history. It's Jujutsu Kaisen. Have you heard of this one?
Oh, okay. I watched the first, maybe also the second episode, and it actually didn't fully grab me. It like
same.
The animation is amazing.
Let me tell you, I had to watch those first couple episodes. I tried to watch it when it first came out. Didn't grab me. Watched it again a couple years ago. Didn't grab me again. Did it this time, got to like the 4th or 5th episode. I hate saying this, where it's like you just got to let it cook a little bit. There's a lot of world building in those first couple episodes, which is a lot of like, oh, you don't know anything about my jujutsu, and jargon. There's just a lot like at the beginning, but like once it like gets its feet on the ground, it's so good. Some of the best fights I've ever seen. So inventive.
I've seen some clips and I'm like, I need to watch this. Like,
get into it, man. Yeah, I finished the first season a couple weeks ago. It was fantastic. I'm about to watch the movie tomorrow. Jujutsu Kaisen 0, and then I'm going to start the second season. It's awesome. I did not understand the hype when I first tried it the first couple times, though. So I can commiserate with you. That's
how anime works sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes you really do have to wait a little bit.
I remember seeing the first episode of Samurai Champloo and I go, I hate this, you know, and years and years and years and years ago, you know, so it's like, now it's one of my favorite things ever. So it's like, it is interesting how things can change. Highly recommend that one if you've never seen it. It's if you want to give it a second chance, because
eventually, for sure. Yeah.
It really it just needs to get its feet on the ground. That's all.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometimes there's just more lore going on, you know, and I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that.
I mean, again, I'm the world building guy, but like, I just, for whatever reason, I'm just like, I get it. You have a jujutsu, and if you say that word one more, that word doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Stop saying it. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Also, time and place is important too. I feel like sometimes it's just not the right time and place.
Right now, it is resonating way more than times where I wasn't in an anime mood. Oh, I'm so sorry. There is a movie I have to bring up because it is a Studio Trigger joint who did
I saw you post that one, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, who did Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yep.
It's called Promare. It's a movie. Yes. I believe you can watch it for free on Amazon Prime. Let me just say, I have never in my life ever seen anything like this anime.
I know.
Have you seen this? Have you seen a trailer?
Yeah, because I saw you post that one. Yeah, no, I watched it. I watched it last year.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw you post about that one. I was like, this one's a good one. This one's a good one
too, and gave it a 4.5 on Letterboxd. Not an anime guy, you know, loved it. So like, this is like anybody can appreciate this movie. It is about nothing. It's about nonsense.
It's firefighters, right?
People started like combusting, and the flame possessed them. Who gives a shit? What, like, you're really here for like the craziest visuals you ever see in your entire life.
Yeah.
Colors I never knew existed, or I never knew half of these colors existed. You know,
sure.
Like, it is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen in my life, and like I highly suggest anybody watch it. I think it is what you watch animated movies for sure.
I think it's the same studio, if I'm not mistaken. It was a Studio Trigger. Was it?
The Trigger.
What the hell is it called? Trigger Anime Studio.
Trigger. They did They did one of the better episodes of Star Wars Visions as well. I think Twins. I think they did that episode.
Well, okay, so Kill la Kill, because I've never seen Kill la Kill.
Gurren Lagann, I think they did, right?
That's what. Okay, so yes, I was like, I was trying to confirm. I'm like 99% sure. Dude, Gurren Lagann is one of those mid 2000s anime that if you've never seen,
I haven't. No, I've been
Kyle,
trying really hard.
yes.
So right now I'm collecting physical media for anime. It's just very hard because a lot of things anime really picked up steam on streaming services.
Yeah.
So like they don't really sell well on physical copies. So Gurren Lagann's one of those things where if I want that, it's like $400. You know?
Yeah. Yes.
But I think that is streaming in a lot of places. So I am going to double back and watch that. I've heard nothing but great stuff. And same thing with Kill la Kill. I've never seen that either. And I hear great things about that.
Gurren Lagann is like actually like if you were like, so what are like your top whatever, like Gurren Lagann is on there.
That's mech, right? Mech anime.
Yeah, so it's mech, but like there's more going on there. But yeah, the mech, there's a mech involved and it's centralized around that. But yeah, it's unbelievable, dude. Like I want to I want to tell you about like the last main battle so bad, but I don't want to spoil it for you. It's like it actually is one of the most absurd, insane things I've ever seen in my life. Kind of like how you were just talking about Promare, like with just colors you couldn't even believe. Like there are just unimaginable things happening in the last few episodes
I love it when
Gurren
an anime
Lagann
just goes for it. They're just like, well, it's all just unraveling here.
But it's watch Gurren Lagann for sure.
I need to bring up one more because I just watched this one last night. Maybe you saw this post as well. But it is a movie called Perfect Blue, which have you ever seen this movie before?
No, but I know of it, but I've never seen it. No.
Man, I didn't know much about it. I've always seen like its like DVD case. I've always like heard of it. I know it's heralded as like one of the greatest anime films ever made. I was like, movie about like a pop idol. I'm sure it's not as good as everyone says it is. It is like way better than everyone says it is.
Oh wow.
Yeah, when that movie like ended, I literally said "what the fuck" to myself like out loud. Like it was such a huge twist. It's so good. So many great reveals. It's a psychological thriller, and it's better than most live action psychological thrillers I've seen in the last like 20 years. Sure. It is a grown-up movie for grown-ups that just so happens to be animated. If this were done by David Fincher, it would win awards, it'd be an all-star cast, yada, yada, like it is one of those movies where it's just like, it just so happens to be on in the medium of anime, but it is like high, like art in terms of like,
when did they make it again?
Like 97, 98.
So it has that movie. It has that like really distinct like
it's
90s.
Got a gold. It has that golden age 90s, which is like that's my era. I'm an 80s, 90s, early 2000s like anime bug. So
me too.
That's kind of my era. Very few things I check out that are new. That's why like you're My Heroes and your Demon Slayers and your Jujutsu Kaisens are like kind of the newest stuff I've been watching. Yeah, go watch that movie, man. You want a cool date night? Well, that's not a good date movie. Never mind. I was gonna get your wife. That's like, a lot of sexual assault in that movie. It's not a great date movie.
That's not really, putting the right.
It's a hard watch. Yeah, like it was hard for me to like recommend it to so many people online because sexual assault is a very taboo, thing to put in your entertainment. But it's also a thing that takes place in CSI and all these like serials on TV. So I know like there is a tolerance for it, but like. It's pretty hard to digest in this one. It is.
Well, depending on how far they show it too, right?
Yeah. It's more of just like the movie is about like the psychological ramifications of that. So like the revisiting of it and stuff like that. I think it might be too much for people, but like it's important stuff though, man. Like it is interesting to see. Not personified, but it like in a visual medium kind of showcase maybe the type of psychosis that something that something could cause when you go through something traumatic like that. So it's a good movie, man. It might be one of my favorite things I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I want to watch. There's so many because that's also when I started watching anime was in the 90s, during or late 90s, with Toonami was predominantly where I started watching things.
I think that's where a lot of
it's just such a distinct era, and like there's so many like movies, like specifically anime movies that I haven't watched that I'm like,
let me be your guy, man. I have so many suggestions for anime movies, and I've been watching mostly anime movies like these last few weeks, and I've seen a lot. I've almost rounded out all the must-sees like for that era. There's a few things I'm still kind of checking off. And it's been a ride, dude. I've seen some really, really, really cool stuff. There's another movie that they put out called Wicked City. It was a 1987's movie. And like, it is so sexual and so crazy. And so I'm just like, I don't even know, like, how is this not NC-17? Like, it is how is this considered a class? Like I thought, like FBI was about to knock in my door. Like it was
more
like,
unhinged back then.
It was
just
wild,
like, you know,
yeah, and like it's got an amazing like English dub and stuff like that. So like it is considered like a classic. I'm like, this is palatable, like, you know, and I liked it because like but it is like. It was one where I'm like, I don't recommend this one. No one watch this movie.
I can't put a seal on it. I can't put a seal on it.
You'll know about this movie if you start. But this is the guy who did like Ninja Scroll. Yeah,
okay.
It's the same.
That's one I've never seen. That's a classic. I need to.
Dude, it's so good. A lot of sexual stuff in that one too. Like Japan, there's a lot of sexual stuff in Japanese anime in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
so it's just sadly you're gonna get a lot of that stuff. So not sadly. It just I feel like a lot of the times they handle it pretty well too. Some of the times you don't. Sometimes you have those like perverted characters who are just like little sexual assault machines, and you're just like
some big fella that grabs some tiny
even
woman.
My Hero has that like character who's like oogling over girls.
The little fella.
It's just kind of baked into a lot of the anime, and you just kind of have to take it or don't, you know. But man, it's been an interesting journey, and I would love to share a lot of films with you if you ever get in the mood to watch a bunch of stuff, because you could just say, hey, I'm looking for this vibe, and I probably have a couple choices for you.
Where have you been watching most of these?
Buying, but I can.
You've been buying them, okay.
But a lot of them are available on streaming.
Okay. Yeah, because I found like this montage that, and I'm like still trying to figure out what even the song is. It's on Twitter, which I'm trying to like not frequent as much. I'm actually kind of going more to Blue Sky, which I know it's like all the social medias, but like Blue Sky is actually pretty chill right now because a lot of
people are going over there right now.
Yeah, kind of had gone over there, so it's kind of like feels like a
greener
more
pastures, bluer skies.
Yes, exactly. But I found this one somebody as I was scrolling through Twitter, and somebody shared like this montage of what looked like predominantly late 80s, early 90s anime, like really violent, visceral like movies, like a montage, but it has this like sick like freaking like synthwave like music playing in the background. But like I don't know what like most of the movies are in that montage, but they like all look sick though. Like and like the animation is like unbelievable.
Just shoot it over to me. I wonder if I can identify some of it.
Yeah, I'd be curious because like as I'd watch that montage, like I'm like, dude, like I want to know what some of these movies are, because like the animation is unbelievable, and these look like old too. But yeah, it's like you said, that golden era. That golden era.
The better chance it is I'll be able to identify it. So
yeah.
I'll share more about the movies, and because I am still going down the rabbit hole of like clearing out all the 80s, 90s. And I got a top 100 list, and I'm kind of just working down that pretty much.
Ooh, okay.
80s, 90s, early 2000s. The cutoff was like 2002 or 2003.
Okay.
And it's been a journey. I liked it. I feel like a kind of a historian a little bit, where I'm like
an anime historian.
An anime anthropologist, if you will, where I'm just like, this is the era I'm looking at. You know, this is I kind of want to know, like watching, especially like stuff from previous directors and like where they started. Like I got a couple of compilations that I'm gonna watch tomorrow that are like where the Akira guy got started. He got started because of this like short. You know, like on this, you know, and same thing with like the Perfect Blue and all these people where they got their start in these like quick anthologies, and like it's just cool to see kind of like where they started and where they came from and everything like that. And it's been fun I like collecting, you know, physical media and movies and TVs. Like it's been fun collecting as well. It's filling my life with purpose. So.
Well, we're gonna have to start doing that, Kyle, because they're gonna take everything away, and it's just gonna be digital, and we don't own digital, so
apparently not. Yeah,
we don't own that shit, so yeah. So you start collecting everything, folks. Start hoarding again. You've all been trying to, you know, simplify things and be what's the word? There's a word for it where you have like nothing in your home. Minimalist, like a minimalist.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now we got to start hoarding everything again. So
nope, get all your little boxes.
Yep. Buy a whole other living space to put them in or something. Figure it out. Well, so is that all of the movies that?
No,
all the
we'd be here forever. We'd be here forever if I named all of them. But
you're cutting them off for now.
Yeah. The only other new stuff I'm watching is Dragon Ball Daima, which is fine if you like Dragon Ball. It's more Dragon Ball than Dragon Ball Z. The Kenshin remake season 2 started, and we're about halfway through that.
Yes, I haven't even watched the first season of that yet.
They're in the Kyoto arc now, but
the second season is.
The Kyoto arc is considered one of the greatest anime arcs in the history of the medium. So, you know, I know the creator was creep.
Yeah.
You know, so acknowledge that, but also, you know, it's a good show. So
yeah.
So those are the
that's what's so tricky about that, and I hate it because it's like I by no means in any way, shape, or form 0% you know am on board with that man and anything that he did, but like it's like
he didn't draw that cartoon by himself. He didn't produce it by himself. You know, like
maybe
these things
created it. He came up with
these things are multiple people are involved. So like I like to remember that as well, that we can't damn everybody. You know, just but yeah, hold people accountable. But just you know,
100%.
But yeah, Dragon Ball. I think everybody else is enjoying it way more than me, but I am liking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because you seem kind of like, and we're like the Dragon Ball guys, so
there's like been no fighting at all. Like it's just like Goku being silly and like hanging out with like little Kai guy and like there's cool like lore going on. There's like actually been way more world building in the first 3 episodes of the show than the entirety of Dragon Ball,
which is what everyone always complains about Dragon Ball for. So
yeah, so there's a lot of like lore, like we're going to the demon realm and like Boo was a demon and Dabura's dead and like so that means there's a you know the king King Demon guy and like that means there's this whole power vacuum there and I don't know, everyone's kids, and it's fine, you know. It's very jolly. I think the animation is like the best.
It looks phenomenal.
It's so outstanding how good the animation is, and I can appreciate that, you know. But like, I just kind of, you know, the Tournament of Power was pretty cool, you know. And now we're like, and now we're doing like Dragon Ball adventures again, and I'm just like, I don't, you know.
I know.
I think just go into it knowing it's Dragon Ball, not Z.
Yeah. Would you say it's better than the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie animation?
No, I love the second. Oh,
the animation because that really
it might be. It might be because Dragon Ball Broly uses a lot of CG as well. You know, it's not all hand drawn. Whereas like Daima,
I'm pretty sure it was all hand drawn.
No, they use
most of
it. Most of it is, but they do implement some.
Even if it was CG, dude, that's like the best Dragon Balls ever looked in my life. Like that shit blew my mind. Like
I agree with that. Yeah, Superhero looks really good too.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a big Broly super.
Yeah, dude. That movie
outstanding. Yeah. It's still my favorite movie of all those movies.
It's unbelievable. It's like it's unbelievable, Kyle.
I like it
like the last 40 minutes of that movie.
Like Frieza, someone shot you. That's so good. I love that movie so much. Yeah.
The last 40 minutes, Kyle, is just everyone's beating the shit out of each other. Like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It's so good. Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. So we could keep talking about Dragon Ball, or we can finish. I mean, what do you? We can.
I think one more thing is you and I both need to start watching Dan to Dan or whatever it's called. Have you heard about this one?
Yeah, dude.
Everybody on Earth
looks
is
phenomenal too.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. You and I should be watching it. Shame on us. Yada yada. So
yeah, because I don't actually know anything about it, but the
I don't either.
Looks
yeah,
amazing.
I don't know anything about it, but I heard last week's episode was like the best episode of anime ever, or something like that.
Sure.
I was crying. I was
something like that.
I was like, there's a lot of big feelings on it. So
sure.
I'm in a big anime.
Add it to the list. Add it to the list.
I'm really enjoying weebing out pretty hard right now.
Excellent. I love that, Kyle. It's my favorite kind of thing. It's my favorite thing.
Yes.
All right. Well, I guess you know you can hold on to some of that anime, and then we can do more anime next time. And then Tim has to listen. Tim has to listen. Yeah. He will have to listen.
So sorry, Tim.
But no, don't even apologize. Tim will have to listen. He will have to listen. But Kyle, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And thank all of you for being here. And you know what? I effed up because I should have at the top mentioned the Discord, because I feel like we need to be mentioning the Discord in the beginning, because at this point people probably might have already checked out. So, but we have a Discord.
Nobody was the second we said now we're going to talk about anime. Everyone's like, and done.
But if anyone is still here, we do have a Discord. You know that we're trying to kind of build from this from the ground up something fresh, because Discord is like more focused and you can kind of just go there and have specific conversation with like-minded people who want to just nerd out, as opposed to going to Facebook and dealing with all the garbage on Facebook, or whatever.
Yeah.
So we have a Discord, and if you want to join it and have
spaced, it's focused.
Yeah. So if you want to join that, the link will be in the description, and all of that jazz. But yeah, this was episode 246. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.